Welcome, everybody, to Ignite Humanity Live. I'm your host, Lady JB Owen, and I'm delighted to share today. Well, we've got some fun stuff. We're dipping into our creative nature. It's 2024, and so we're looking at all the fun ways that we can do something new to ignite our lives and ignite the lives of others. And so the show is all about talking about how you can ignite your life, and it starts with you, and then you move into a place where you're living in a way that you best feel connected to you, and that allows you to inspire others. And we love having guests on the show who are talking about what we're doing to ignite one another. And we have a repeat guest who I talked to last season in 2023, talked about the power of vision boarding. And with today's topic being about awakening, I thought it was a great opportunity to bring her back and talk about how we can use visualization and vision boards to really awaken what's possible in our future. And with a new year just starting out, I thought this would be a fun time for us to talk about what's possible for you to ignite humanity. All right, well, let's meet our guest. Bijal Coulson is an advanced rapid transformational therapist, clinical hypnotherapist, creator, and founder of Quantum Life Technique, consciousness coach, energy and sound healer, queen of vision board workshops, and four-time Ignite best-selling author based in the UK and Mallorca. Bijal has dedicated her focus to helping others quantum leap towards their future using the tool of visualization and vision board creation. It goes hand in hand with raising the consciousness towards creating healing and empowerment. It's a beautiful journey towards transformation, love, creativity, and aligning with a life that everyone can love some more. All right, welcome her to the show. We love having you here, darling.
Thank you for having me, JB.
You know, I'm rolling up my sleeves because I love creativity. I think that when we move into the creative brain, something magical happens. Before we get started, can we talk a little bit about that? Because many times we're living in that left brain, logical, analytical, do. And it's so important for us to activate the other side of the brain, the creative brain, so that the brain is healthy. Yesterday's guest was all about brain health. So activating both halves of the brain and keeping them healthy, so important.
Yeah, so actually what the word comes up for me is synchronization, because if we're using one aspect or that's being used a lot and there isn't the balance, then there isn't that synchronization, and synchronization can lead to so many amazing things with the connection between the mind, the heart, the mind, the body, and also outside of ourselves. So the creative part, you don't have to be creative. Of course, creative things like vision boarding, I found that historically attract people who are creative and love creativity, but it's also for people who may not see themselves as traditionally creative. So what it's helping people do is actually activate that part of the brain they're not normally activating. And so if someone's more creative, it's actually good for them to use the other part of their brain as well, doing, certain techniques. And it helps really expand the brain, and it opens up lots more possibilities. So there's been quite a lot of scientific research about left brain, right brain. Also, there's been research if you're left-handed, right-handed. I'm left-handed. It doesn't mean if you're not left-handed, but there has been research that the more people who are left-handed tend to be, that there is more of the creative element that goes with them. But that's not to say people right-handed are not as well. And what's been fascinating, people may have developed beliefs from when they were young that they're not creative. And something like vision boarding has blown that myth for them, because everybody is able to be creative. We are creative every day when we choose what we're wearing, when we choose what we want to eat. So it's like if you go a certain way, you take a certain route to go somewhere, and you take a different route. If you brush your teeth a certain way and you brush them a different way, that's expanding yourself, that's expanding your brain and creating more synchronization. Or using the opposite hand to, if you write with your left hand, to do some doodling with your right hand.
I think the really interesting thing for me about being creative is that there is no right or wrong. There is no there is it's a wide open field. You don't draw the right way, paint the right way, create the right way, see things the right way. Like when you step into creativity, for me, it's like this sort of landscape of unboundedness. It can be
Yes.
anything. And it's
Yeah.
and that a lot of people who live on the left side want more parameters or want more structure or want more the measurement of right
Yes.
and wrong
Yes.
or exact and inexact.
Yeah.
And what's so fun about being creative is that you just get to throw that all out the window and have fun and just enjoy and actually be willing to it not be exact or not be any one particular way. I think that's the most joy in creativity.
I think what's coming, like the drawing outside the lines, but also there is actually discipline, because vision boarding, let's say, for example, there is a process involved with it, and there is a deeper meaning. It is fun and it is interactive, but there is a deeper meaning. And I think when there's a combination of that, it makes things a lot more interesting.
Well, let's dive in. It's the new year. All kinds
Mhm.
of new things are happening. People have made new goals, new aspirations, New Year's resolutions. And one of the things that's become very common is people making vision boards at the beginning of the year or at auspicious times in their life to just set the tone for where they're headed. Can you give me a little bit of background or maybe some tiny bit of a history or even the meaning and the essence behind a vision board?
So vision boarding, when I think of it, it's a very powerful tool. It's actually a positive psychology tool. And we're learning more and more about tools that we can use to help us and help our brains. So we're not traditionally hardwired for that. We're hardwired for survival, but survival doesn't necessarily lead to our happiness. So vision boarding has been a very seem to be one tool that can be used to elevate our consciousness, to raise our vibration. And there's various elements relating to vision boarding. And you're right, there is a timely thing that there's a surge of people wanting to do things like vision boarding around this time of year. I believe it's good any time of the year. There's also points like the spring solstice, the summer solstice. I believe there doesn't need to be a time, there can be any time. And I've even had people, I've been running them more regularly now, the workshops, and I've had people come repeat. I've had one couple come on the last three, and they said each time they have evolved. And actually, because it's a service, whenever I run it, it isn't the same, because there are certain elements. I may tweak things a little bit. And there's also the group energy, and the group is different each time. And it's just been really amazing, because this group energy also adds to, if there's a group of people with shared intentions. And, you speak about the word awakening. This also allows a process to unfold, which is quite powerful, that connects someone to who they really are and can often reveal what their deeper mission is. So when I do this work, it's not just about getting some images, some paper, some glue, and sticking them together. I actually spend 2/3 of the time, so it's usually 3-hour workshops, actually priming everyone before they actually do the vision board. And it there is an element that I've incorporated in the last few years where they're not actually doing the vision board with the conscious mind. So in the past, people laughed or joked, grab a glass of wine and do your vision board. And
Mhm.
there's probably a good reason to that, because it makes you more relaxed. So I found that actually when I incorporate a guided meditation, which takes people to connect more to their higher self, and they're in a lowered brainwave state, they're actually using what's called their superconscious mind or their unlimited mind to actually focus on their desires, which is very different when you're doing a vision board more consciously.
Yeah, it
So
makes sense. It makes a lot of sense because it's not something, it isn't just about cutting out some pictures in paper and putting them. It's really about revealing and sharing what is important to you and what you value and what you're headed towards and where you're going. And it is it can be very, very emotional, very, very spiritual. I've done lots of vision boards during silent retreats. I've done vision boards during the new year. I've done vision boards at nature retreats. It's very, very special. So how can somebody get started at home?
Well, I was just going to say, you've also done one with me. So
Yes, I have.
this
Exactly.
was
I
about
loved it.
2020, and there was about 35 authors, so it was specific to authors, and we had a blast. And it was my first time actually doing an online vision board, because before that I'd been doing in-person workshops, and it was different, but it was amazing because there were people from all over the world. It was global, and that was just fantastic. And you also experienced the meditation part. So when you say how can someone get started from home, it I know a lot of people have done it before, and I often say, whether they're doing it through facilitation or doing it themselves, or especially if they come and do it with me, it's going to be different. And
Right.
especially if they haven't done it with me, it is a whole different experience. You've done it many times, so perhaps I could throw it over to you. That was it different when you did that workshop with me?
It was beautiful and special. And what I want to share is on that 2020 vision board, I actually put a picture of the Taj Mahal, that I wanted to visit the Taj Mahal. And as you know, in 2022, I actually got to go to India and visit the Taj Mahal.
How
So it's
amazing.
really, yeah, exciting that when you put something on your vision board, it unfolds. So maybe instead of how does somebody get started at home, I would love to know if you could maybe share some of what you feel is
Mm,
most valuable in the vision board process, or maybe how can our
yeah,
listeners or viewers today gain information from
yeah.
your expertise?
Yeah, so what's really important, I think, because vision boards, it's vision, it's about the future, but we do have a past, and it's really important to be able to evaluate that past in terms of the positive aspects in this process. So I like to get clients, I like to get the group to look at what their achievements have been. And they don't necessarily need to be measured achievements, that they climbed a mountain or they raised such and such amount of money. It can be more a sense of a feeling they got, or an emotion that resulted in them feeling an achievement, so an accomplishment or something positive, and it could be recent or it could be accumulated. So I like really to reflect on the past in terms of what can you take from your past that you can really be grateful for, you can praise yourself for. So I believe that's really, really important. And there's actually a good way that I believe, if people want to gather their accomplishments, achievements, it's actually possible to create a board for as a motivational tool.
Mm-hmm.
It's a board to remind you of what you've accomplished. And the other thing that I like to do is, it doesn't have to be exact. So when you're looking for images in magazines, it's pretty random. So what I really like is for it to be abstract, for it to be symbolic. So for it to be, it's actually better if it's not exactly the same.
I
And
I
it's got
agree with you.
a
I think, yeah, it's totally true. On that same vision board, actually, I put a picture of a woman on a ladder. Not that I wanted to be on a ladder, but it symbolized about moving up a ladder or moving forward. I also put a bunch of pictures of butterflies, and it was just me symbolizing freedom and beauty and all of the intricacies of a butterfly's wings. And so I agree with you. It's more about the emotion. The Taj Mahal reference was a very specific one, but I think the most effective vision boards really create an emotional temperature or an emotional aspiration, a state of being, a state of feeling. I think that is so much more accurate than what
and
you just said.
it's the meaning, it's what's relevant for you, not for
Yes.
anyone else. And it's actually quite exciting after a while. So there is that part incorporated, because some people find it easy to symbolize and some people don't. So it's really good for them to practice ahead of doing the vision board with something like the achievements. So once and we do also touch on challenges, and we look at lessons that were learned as a result of those challenges, because challenges are going to continue in our life. That's evolution. And it's really looking at what we can take from what we learned. So if we were able to build resilience as a result of a challenge, we can take that as something that we can really, we can say, right, that's something we want for the future, to, you know, to make the visions come alive, to delve deep into our dreams and our desires. It's not just a straight line to the destination, and actually it's really about the journey as well. So it is about understanding that where we've got to right now and the journey we're heading on, that some things we can take that were difficult in our life, and what we learn from that, what wisdom have we gained from that. And so that's really important. And then I like to move everyone to really evaluating where they are currently. And I like to use a tool that's called the Wheel of Life. It's commonly used in coaching, and sometimes I use it differently depending on the group. So, and sometimes we'll focus on a variety of areas. Sometimes I'll get them to choose specific areas, and they will evaluate where they are currently, and like they'll draw a form like a circle, like a pie chart, and they will evaluate. They'll give a score between 0 and 10 of where they feel they are with their finances, where they are with their career, where they are with their health. So, you know, I like them to select the ones that are more meaningful for them, and perhaps what they'll be ending up focusing on in their vision board. So this is interesting because the tool can be used to evaluate where you are now, but it can also help people realize, okay, well, that is something I want to work on, or that is something that isn't that high in score, but it's not something I want to focus on right now, or that's pretty good, but I want to make that better. So when they're looking at their wheel, it's never going to be a perfect wheel. That's rare, but it's going to be what's suited for them, where they are. And it's also very subjective. It's not objective. Someone's evaluating themselves compared to another person. You can't really compare. So vision boarding, even though it's done in a group, and some people do like to do it just on their own, it's a very sacred experience, or they want to do it one-to-one rather than as a group. But I found that it's actually can be very, very powerful doing it as a group, and you don't have to share or reveal anything that you don't want to. You know,
Right.
it's quite a nice safe space.
Well, we've been talking about it for quite a while. Why don't we show somebody what a vision board looks like? Because there might be some people who are like, what is this vision board thing? I know you have.
We can see.
Yeah, if you put it against you, then we can see it, not close to the camera. There you go. So this is a beautiful example of a vision board and how it's just multiple different images. And Bijal has created this beautiful, your vision board is very tidy and nice. And
This is an old one, but it's interesting how they've changed. This one was very much based on me, as it says in the middle, and my personal self-care, and it's still very relevant for me today. So this was done quite a long time ago.
Right.
But when I look at it, I just feel a sense of calm, and it's still very relevant and reminds me, you know, that me.
Right. That was a place that you were at in your life. So of course it resonates with you. And I love that about vision boards. You can look at ones from years ago and you still see remnants of you. Wow, beautiful.
This was done years ago, and it knew ahead of me what I'd be doing, because when I did this, I was a lecturer at university teaching marketing and psychology. I was doing vision board workshops, but this actually revealed that I would become a hypnotherapist. It actually revealed to the detail, even including the staircase. You know, you said you had a ladder. It has certain aspects that just when I look at it now, I'm like, wow, that's incredible. You know,
check, ding, 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 ding.
This one's also been quite awesome because I don't know if you can see, there's like a art picture in the middle, and it ended up being Mallorca. So Mallorca's brought out the creative part of me even further, and you know, the artist in me. But it's so interesting because the middle part is way much more than I thought when I was when I picked that, when I selected that. And I also want to mention things like words. I noticed with your vision board, you'd use quite a lot of words, and it depends. Sometimes people use more words, sometimes people use a combination, sometimes people use more images. And with this one, I started to get a little bit even more creative by having fold out aspects to the board, like and this one was very, very interesting because there's all these instruments here. And I ended up actually going on a sound healing course, doing a diploma a year after doing that. And that wasn't, when I put that down, it wasn't, it was one of many things I'd like to do one day, but it was very interesting when I saw that, had happened. And many other things as well, including my vision of a place in Mallorca with a swimming pool, and just, when I look at it, I'm just almost in awe. And sometimes some things are still to come through. And interestingly, this one recently is a recent one. And there's a group hiking. Can you see group hiking here?
Mm-hmm.
And I recently took up hiking in Mallorca, and I was very nervous and excited at the same time. And I took some photos. And when I came back home, I had a photo very similar to that photo. And I couldn't believe it, because it wasn't intentional, but it was like, wow, it can be that exact, that sometimes that is the exact image, but it's not always that way. It's more that feeling. It's more, it's rather than it being a replica of that image, it's a feeling. But for you, that it was the Taj Mahal. And for me, it's the symbolism as well. And I've actually got something to share about this. So this is for the Buddhist life coach. And I've done lots and lots of vision boarding workshops, and I've had lots and lots of different people attend. And this was a vision board workshop run years and years ago, about a decade ago, at my house. And it was a man called Norman. And I met him because I went to a cancer center to see if I could help people with coaching. And he was a coach. And he'd told me he was working there because he'd lost his wife to breast cancer. But when I got there, I was very emotional, and they said, you're not ready. And we had a good chat, and I invited him to my vision board workshop, and he came, and he was marvelous. And he shared that he wanted to find a companion, and that he wanted to write a book because he was a Buddhist, and he wanted to write a book that combined Buddhism and coaching. And didn't really see or hear from him. Years later, I go to a Sanskrit chanting workshop, as you do, and conversation comes up and his name's mentioned, and he's passed away. And I get quite upset. And then I ask some questions, and he died. He passed of pancreatic cancer. He'd raised quite a lot of money for the charity, and I asked if he'd found love, and they said yes. And I asked if he'd written a book, and they said yes. So I Googled him, and this is the book. I bought the last copy that was available.
Wow, incredible. It goes to show how your vision board can really help you bring forth things. And talk about briefly how seeing it every day, putting it somewhere, where you can see it, in your office, on your fridge, in your hallway, on your mirror, so that you're starting to plant the seeds and starting to speak to the subconscious.
Yes, so it's not just doing the vision board and then just putting it away in the drawer. It's really bringing it to life. And there's ways like also the gratitude aspects of when you give gratitude, but it's like a future gratitude. You're being grateful for that vision board and that vision of the future. What's the difference between where you are now and that future? Is frequency and vibration. So when you surround yourself with that vision board and you bring it to life, you're working at embodying that future in the now. And the process that I developed, quantum life technique, is really beautiful because it enhances this even further, and it works on visiting the future and the desires, but it's also allowing a programming of the subconscious mind, because it's the subconscious mind that's key for us, that really instructs our conscious mind. And so we kind of collaboration of all of them. because you can create a vision board and look at it a month later, that was a nice experience and that was all
Right.
very lovely, but look at my life right now, it's nothing like it.
It's
And
so
so
amazing. It's
it's
really
really,
amazing. You know what I love is that our creative juices, we have already come to the end of the show. And before we close with just a few minutes left, I'd love for you to just make the connection. How is vision boarding? How is bringing your consciousness forward to the things that you want? How is that going to help humanity?
yeah, so if you think about memories, we have memories from our past. Some are great, some hold us back. With things like vision boarding, quantum life technique, we are creating future memories, and
Mm,
we will meet challenges in our life, and we actually then have a choice. Whereas we have always been hardwired to go back to what our body connects to and create messages for us in terms of things we don't need to get in the way and illnesses. And so this is a really great way to help us keep maneuvering us to our future, and everything is in the present moment, even though it's the future and our past or trauma, whatever experience in the past. If we are in the present moment, we can choose to create our future being connected to the present moment. So we are always in the present moment, but then to have the choice that I pick my desires, and it's having one foot in gratitude, one foot in desire. And these are positive psychology tools that elevate our vibration, that will elevate humanity if we're all taking not just responsibility for our healing, but also owning up to our desires and allowing our soul to connect with us, to understand why we are here, our soul purpose, the real fundamental awakening, the end.
we have to have another show. We have to have another
I just
show.
want to end with how we serve, how are we serving? That's the goal. It's not just about us. It's how do we serve humanity? So thank you for letting
Amen.
me share that.
It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Folks, you can find out more about what Bijal is up to. Please take one of her vision board classes. As you can tell, she will pour so much into you. I'm putting my hand up for the next one. I haven't done one yet for 2024. I'm absolutely due. So please let me know. We bless you. We honor you. We know how spectacular this is. And folks, you can benefit so much. Thank you, my darling.
Thank you, JB. I just wanted to say, am I allowed to just say one more thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm also going to be doing a group program for quantum leaping, because I do one-to-one work for quantum life technique, and I want to bring it to more people. And I'm also going to be doing vision body workshops, and specific ones for entrepreneurs and for coaches, healers. And I'm also going to be doing what's called vision box workshops. So watch this space.
Wow. Where you make a vision box?
Yeah,
Precious. I'm up for that. Please, please invite me. All
I
right.
will
Thank you so
do.
much.
Thank you for
Kisses
having
to
me.
you. Folks, I wanted to bring you something sort of fun and different. And as you can see, it's not just putting pieces of pictures on a paper and making a poster. It's really, really powerful. And I hope you take up Bijal or anyone who is teaching vision boarding, or go online and find out how you can start it. It's great to do with you. It's phenomenal to do with your kids, great to do with your spouse. You can have a family vision board. You can have a couple's vision board. Very, very powerful to help you step into the greatest version of you, which is going to help humanity. All right, big hugs. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.
Now, more than ever, we need to come together to connect with one another. We need to feel the truth in who we are and let go of everything that's happened in the past. We need to empower every person on the planet and awaken hearts, enliven souls, come together, laugh, play, rejoice, connect, create, and love. It's time to ignite humanity. We want you to be a part of something that will impact the future for everyone. We want you to tell your story, share your Ignite moment, show people who you truly are. Be a part of igniting humanity and making a difference in the world and all of our futures.